It is difficult to truly assess the Highlanders due to its missing status, although all the same, I find it. I'm going to compare it with some of the same missing serials of First Doctor, particularly a missing four-part historical, or just a missing historical in general, because sometimes a four-part historical is better because if the serial is not very interesting, it's we don't waffle on as much. They have to get all the plot out in 4 episodes. And the second Doctor is that much more engaging and active in the plot. In this serial, we learn more about him and how distinct his tactics/strategies are from William Hartnell's First Doctor. It serves as more interesting than the average historical might be otherwise, and Troughton is that much more charismatic than Hartnell, in my humble opinion. Based upon the screen caps, we get a really dirty and yucky kind of sense of history with this. The environment, more effective than in The Smugglers, for example, really emphasizes a kind of it seems to emphasize a kind of gradient. This is hard to assess. The Smugglers is in the same situation, although it appears as though if The Smugglers, it was kind of a sea shanty, a bit like not too removed from Robert Louis Stevens sort of thing, Treasure Island, sort of its caricatures of pirates. Although what we have with the Highlanders is a more when you read about history and historians or history teachers will tell you, oh yeah, no, like history was a lot yuckier and ickier than you might imagine. You have these kind of glossy ideas in your head. It was very muddy and disgusting, and people didn't know how to bathe yet. So the Highlanders, I think, did a good job of demonstrating, being on a boat would have been a yucky experience back in the day, or it seems to. This is just based upon the availability of certain screen caps in the audio track, right? And of course, Fraser Hines, we take this for granted because Jamie became a regular companion up until Troughton left the show, obviously. But if this was Fraser Hines' only appearance as Jamie McCrimmon during the Second Doctor's run, he would still stand as one of the most memorable and involved supporting/guest characters in any of these serials. It's a situation where you probably would speculate, yeah, they ought to have made him a companion, a very loyal and yet brave, willing personality who would still have this kind of interesting fish out of water quality. What was great about Jamie was in his insistence on learning, and how, despite him feeling as though he was very out of place traveling across time and space with the Second Doctor, his loyalty and fascination with everything that was going on around him, and his belief in the Doctor's genius and visionary, and kind of the opportunity and the importance of the Doctor's missions. And Jamie's faith in the Doctor outweighs any sort of apprehension he might otherwise have toward the absolute incomprehensible strangeness going on around him at any given time. His bravery is insurmountable, and he's charismatic, likable, and a fascinating example of how a human plucked from time can find a means of engaging in and have very thorough and exciting, amusing chemistry with other beings of completely different time and origin, and obviously of his own species with Ben and Polly, a Time Lord from Gallifrey, with the Second Doctor, a 19th century lady with Victoria, and then far in the future, I think the 25th century, he gets on well with Zoe. It's great how we Jamie's able to demonstrate how the human species can find so much commonalities and similarities between each other across centuries, to the point where they barely even acknowledge or consider the fact that they are from completely different timelines when they're interacting with each other, be it him interacting, as I said, with Ben and Polly, or Zoe, or Victoria, or the Second Doctor himself. So overall, I find the Highlanders to be, dare I say, one of the stronger of the historicals due to the presence of the Second Doctor and Jamie alone, and just the fact that it's not William Hartnell standing around and some supporting characters, or the companion, be it Ian and Barbara, or Stephen, or Dodo, whomever, just engaging in the plot whilst he just talks about and kind of giggles and stuff. Troughton is the main ingredient with which the plot moves forward. Him being in disguise, him outwitting his opponents, him lying and deceiving the redcoats. It's really fun stuff, even if it's just listening to and watching stills. Anyway, next time we're reviewing a really fantastic and actually half available serial in the underwater metas. Stay tuned, that'll be pretty brilliant stuff, I think.